So it looks like we're getting a Venom and Knull 2-pack, but is the quality of this up to snuff, and is it worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what Venom action figures we want to see next. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. Over the past few years, we've gotten a bunch of different Venom action figures, all of varying quality. Back in 2016, during the Absorbing Man wave, we got a Venom that was based on Todd McFarlane's art, and it was alright. It wasn't the worst Venom, but it could be better. This Venom came with two different heads. One was based on Todd McFarlane's art, and the other was based more on Mark Bagley's art. Also notable about this one is that it had two sets of hands, and Hasbro remembered to paint the web shooters on top of both of them. You'd think that wouldn't be asking a lot, but in 2021 we got a Venom in the Spider-Man Retro line that used Omega Red's body, but when you look at the hands, they didn't bother to paint the web shooters on for whatever reason. And if that wasn't bad enough, he had two giant peg holes on top of his shoulders. Almost a year before this retro Spider-Man release, there was a Venom in the Venompool wave, and this one was based on the movie Venom. One of the best things about it is that it has a torso cut and an ab crunch, and this made a believer out of me because initially I was skeptical about this combination, but after playing with it, yeah, this is the best way to go. The only thing I'd say is missing from it is some butterfly joints, because anything we can have to increase Venom's reach here would be great. And besides the articulation, one of my favorite things about this Venom is that you can feel the texture on the symbiote. And you know, texture is one of those things that goes a long way in making an action figure great. On this Venom, you can feel his veins, you can feel that mottled, symbiotic flesh writhing. It feels like it's almost alive the way that they've done it here. Honestly, if you're a Venom fan and you enjoyed the movie, you really owe it to yourself to check this action figure out. And speaking of checking out this Venom, I'm going to talk about him in a little bit, but first I'd like to focus on the other action figure in this 2-pack, Knull. And this Knull action figure is really amazing. This is another one where they've implemented a variety of textures, and it goes a long way toward improving the quality of the action figure. Guys, we've got some fantastic close-ups of Knull here. You can see the little edges of his bandages wrapped around his arms and his hands. You can see the furrow of his brow. You can see the sinew of his muscles. You can see the texture of his hair and the dents and chipping in his armor plates on his shoulders there. One thing I've been thinking about with Knull is how the articulation in his torso is going to be. Because we know now that he has an ab crunch, but does he have the torso cut too? If he has that, boy, that's really gonna bump up this figure a few more notches than where he already is. The one thing that does strike me though is that looking at his tunic, I think that the articulation on his legs will probably be a little limited. It doesn't seem to me, looking at it, like there's going to be a lot of room for movement down there, unless maybe there's a split going down the sides, or else maybe it's made of soft plastic. I'm not really a big Knull guy, so the odds of me getting this one are pretty slim. Still, you gotta recognize the quality of this piece. And now we should probably talk about the other toy in this 2-pack, Venom, of course. And this one is notable because they are using the movie Venom body for a comic book based Venom. And you know what? It kinda works for the most part. Of course, since he uses the same body, he's got all of those textures that we've already enjoyed on movie Venom. It's definitely a little disappointing that he's still got pins on his joints. With the trend that Marvel Legends has been going toward, it just seems like they should phase that out. Aside from that, he's got some pretty cool additions here. He's got a couple of new head sculpts, and they both fit in with the body really well, much to my surprise. I thought they might look out of place, but no, they're just as textured as the body is. One head has a tongue whipping out of Venom's mouth like, Venom tends to do, and the other head is just Venom smiling. Another thing that's really cool, of course, is that Venom comes with a pair of giant wings. Venom uses these in the King in Black storyline, and here they attach through a couple of peg holes on his back. I wasn't sure how I felt about these because I keep thinking back to the Series 1 Annihilus and how kind of cheesy those wings are. But no, these are actually really nice. They're articulated at the joint where they attach to Venom's back, and they're also articulated at the midpoint so you can do a wing spread. Looking up close at these, it seems they've even managed to capture some worn leather type textures on them so they look extra cool. I'm surprised by how well this Venom works. That said, there is a little snafu that they kind of left on this one, and when you look down at Venom's feet, he still uses the same feet that were on the movie Venom action figure, but the problem is that Venom in the comics does not have individual toes, so it seems that whoever was working on this just wasn't all that careful, or else they didn't care. It's not like it's some tiny detail that people won't notice, it's really obvious. This one comes with something of a sticker shock. It costs almost $80. $77.99, that's a lot of money for this. Like, is this really a $78 package? That's almost the price of 2 DC Multiverse Mega Figures. Is that about equivalent? I don't know about that. I don't think so. We're looking at a couple of what Marvel Legends would consider deluxe action figures here, and I think that this should only cost $60. I think that's a more fair price, and because of that, I would wait for the cost to come down on this one. The higher prices combined with these new terrible Marvel Legend boxes are really making me think twice about getting Marvel Legends, guys. I mean, when we look at the price of this, we have to consider what else we could get for $78. For about $70, I could get 2 very nice Marvel Select action figures, and they're going to be about as good or even better than what we're seeing here. Not to mention, if I get those, I'm not going to be dealing with the new terrible Marvel Legends box design. The absolute best thing they could do right now is go back to a windowed box, because this windowless stuff is not doing it for me. Now that we've talked about this, Soulmates, what version of Venom do you want to see next? Personally, I really want to see a redo of Todd McFarlane's Venom. I would love to see a new version of that with a new ab crunch plus torso cut and just an entirely new body devoted specifically to a comic book version of this character. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this 2-pack? Is this one that you're gonna get, or are you thinking about maybe skipping this one, or are you still on the fence and you're not really able to decide? Also, what version of Venom do you want to see? Maybe you have a Venom that you want to see more than I do. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. I'll be back again soon with some more thoughts about new comic book toy news. And until then, with love from me to you, bye-bye.